Quite philosophical, but essentially I think there is starting to be some agreement that it is not only about the speed of change happening or the pervasiveness of it, but there's also something unique with this one where it is offering us this moment of contemplation of what makes us innately human. And so the name artificial intelligence, I think, triggers that in some ways. And I think what we're all starting to align around is human creativity is one of the points of differentiation.
Well, I know I'm supposed to be really optimistic about it because I think that's a cliche among creative people to say, oh, the AI is my partner. You know, it's like having another person in the room. And it is to a degree. But I do feel like that we have to remember and honor the things that are unique about us as humans.
See, a lot of people have gone on record to say that AI is as significant in its discovery as electricity is or as internet is. I think that's true. This can be game-changing for lives of people in a significant way.
We're still, from my perspective, deep in the hype cycle. And what happens when you're deep in this hype cycle is that you have irrational exuberance with regards to technology and what it can do. So people like myself, I think my duty right now is to be a skeptic. I want to be looking at the future and what it can bring, but I also want to be measured in the way I talk about it so that I can help others make sense of it.
This is a profoundly big one. It's almost like an era that we're entering or have entered that changes really, quite frankly, almost everything that we do, which is, I think, personally very exciting.
Starting to see a lot of conversations about the democratization of creativity that is enabled by generative AI. Specifically, you don't have to be a great illustrator to sketch out your idea.
The way it's being talked about is at 3 different levels. One is, what does it do to the business, to help the business? Second, how do you prevent the deep fakes and the problems that can come potentially if we don't put the right regulation? The third one was from a societal impact. Does it take jobs or does it actually create jobs? People are rightly focusing on the negatives of AI, and they should, and we should be very conscious of it. But we should also give equal prominence to the positives and the game-changing ways in which our lives can be improved by AI.
I mean, one of the themes that came up in my talk today was the need to leverage technology to improve people's lives, and just taking that noble point of view on how we can potentially right some of the wrongs of the past, because I'm also a big believer that we've gotten a little bit off course with regards to digital experiences and their impact on people and things like social media and addiction to.
Yeah, I think there's a rightful focus on kind of risk and regulation, societal impact, red teaming, preventing unintended consequences.
I think there's a real danger as we have AI do jobs that the cost of those jobs will somehow get out of whack with what people are willing to pay. So, you know, because we don't really have a rate card for AI. And, you know, I think that clients think it's free. We think it takes more direction than they think it does. And we'll have to work out some middle ground at some point, you know. The thing that scares me is that people will start asking that more and more of their advertising just be done by AI. It's good enough. Good enough is not good. It's not good for our heads, and it's not going to make breakthroughs in the world.
Another interesting challenge that we really are starting to see is actually inflated expectations about what AI can do. Because it can do amazing, wonderful things. But it can't do a lot of the things that people imagine it can do, and it makes lots of mistakes, and the quality is not that great, and weird things happen. So there's this idea that AI will just like replace all of traditional filmmaking. You just like put your script into the prompt and it makes that's not what happens.
The tech stack is infinitely complex.
It's still very complicated. It still requires technical knowledge. It's often too soon to start using it in our work, and we gotta wait until a more approachable, accessible version of the tool is made available. available for our creatives to use.
I would offer one of the biggest gaps is not technical, it is a mindset of experimentation.
Regulation has to catch up. And I think there is a lot of, even industry leaders are asking that this needs to be regulated, so there is, it's not a runaway train, so to speak.
The best research being done in machine learning and artificial intelligence right now is being done by the big tech companies, because we've gotten to a point where they are the only ones who have the resources and the talent to do that research. So it has, for a large part, moved out of academia and onto big tech. So that means that we are also at a place where we gotta keep our fingers crossed that they try not to be too evil.
I think the future of copyright is going to be very different from the way we feel about it now. I'm concerned about going outside the building because there are lawyers. and because, you know, we are using all the time very valuable client commodities. We're going to start letting it go a lot more than we currently do. We're going to be a little bit less judicious in the public space. There will be lawsuits, there'll be unhappy people, but I think that the beauty and expansiveness of it will just be too attractive. It's going to be like a big nighttime skinny dip for everybody, and we're just going to all like go for it.